Good morning, everybody. This is Deanna at Food Bank Beautiful, and it is Saturday, June the 8th. And if I look a little bit of fright, it's because I have been outside in my garden all morning. So I'm hand watering. I planted some forsythia. I've never planted that before. I'm starting from seed. I mean, I have forsythias in the back of my property, but I want to see if I can't. I want to border an area that is not attractive with forsythia, and I want to start it myself. Now, yesterday, I went to both the well and the mini distribution, but I got carried away, and actually I was exhausted yesterday. I just couldn't spread everything out and show you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that today, and then we're going to talk about maybe what I'm going to get done today. Okay, so I'm just going to hold up because there's probably not more than 15 items. So starting with the mini distribution, I have a container of cherries that I picked up, and Grandma's been eating those with all of her meals and she likes them. I have some grapes. The grapes I had to pick through a little bit, but you know what? I'm okay with that. Pick through, the chickens get whatever isn't good enough to eat, and we eat the rest. So, cherries and grapes. I have some asparagus. I'm thinking about making a cream of asparagus soup today. Maybe cheese soup? I don't know. We'll see. 2 lovely little heads of bok choy. You guys see those? I guess I could take them out of the plastic for you. Those need to be washed up and ready to go. A very nice thing of radishes. I need to get those cleaned up. And then the rest is bread. So I got 4 blueberry scones. I got these little cinnamon bun things. I don't eat them, but Addie does. And so I will wrap those up individually for him, and he will eat those. I got a Kirkland package of cinnamon apple raisin nut bread. That looks really good. And a package of Oro Wheat organic bread, and I was very happy to see that. I love Oro Wheat. Whole grain, whatever kind of breads. Now that is what I got from the mini distribution. Prior to mini distribution that morning, I went to the well and I got a 50-pound bag of onions. And when I show you the picture, you will see that I put out a small crate for myself. I gave the rest to our friend. I got a crate of apples. You've been following me, you know I'm having juicer issues, but the new juicer is due today, so we'll see how that works. And then I got a big 50-pound bag of carrots, not for me, but for our friend. And then there was a case of orange juice, and there were 6 of them. We kept 1. 3 went to our friend, and 1 each went to the person who lives up there and the person who lives around the corner. So that's what we got yesterday. And I'm feeling pretty good about that, although I do have a lot of preservation work to do this morning. I think what I want to do is put all of this away and then start a batch of jam. Got a lot of fruit that I have frozen that I have time now to take care of, so I want to do that. And then I'm going to have to chop and those onions. I did a rough count. I won't tell you. You guys can guess. I'll show you the crate and you can put a guess in and see what you think. Okay, now I did actually get around to making the apple butter, and I didn't bring you along for that because that was it's just a lengthy process, and I just didn't have the time to do that and try to film it yesterday or the day before. It was a day and a half. So I have 3 pints of apple butter right there, 3. And this one tasted super delicious. And then I have a half pint here. In fact, this one turned out better than the first time I made it. So that is just, you know, if you make something and it's not as great as you want it, you know, make it again. Take notes and make it again. So on this recipe, I did change a few little things. It called for 2 cups of white sugar and 1 cup of brown, and I switched that around, 2 cups of brown and 1 cup of white, not a big deal. This one had apple cider vinegar in it, and I don't remember the first batch that I made having that ingredient. I could be wrong, but I definitely like the taste of this one better. Also, it called for a whole bunch of spices, one of which was cinnamon, which I do not have at the moment. So I just used pumpkin pie seasoning in place of all the seasonings, and it's perfect. So I'm very happy with that. So I did get that done. So now it is almost 10 o'clock. I'm going to sit down and make myself a bagel with cream cheese. I'm going to put these things away, and then I'm going to wrap things individually, right? And we'll go from there. We'll see what the day brings, if I can actually get some stuff done. And we'll see what kind of jam I'm going to make. I think I brought you guys along for the blackberry jam last time. And I think I mentioned this before. The blackberry jam I did not care for. It had so many seeds in it, but I threw it in my Vitamix and blended it down to no seed or very little seed. And then I just use it as a syrup now. That's what I'll use it for in the future. And I'll just do 1 can at a time so I don't have to worry about trying to preserve it all again. So, lesson learned. No blackberry jam for me. I think I have dirt on my camera because I'm seeing it on my face and it isn't wiping off. So, oh well. All right, I will try to bring you along for a few things today, and it won't be anything terribly exciting, but you know, such is life. All right, that's it. Ta-ta, my friends. Have a good day. Here are the onions that I kept out for myself. These I need to clean up, chop, and freeze. And here are the apples. They look pretty good. All right, so today I am going to make jam, but I'm actually going to make a jam that I have never made before. And I am going to make out of this cookbook right here. Author's name is Serena Foster. You can read the title, Water Bath, Canning and Preserving Cookbook for Beginners. Okay. On page 31, it has a recipe called Sweet and Spicy Bell Pepper Jelly. Now, I read the directions, and they're not having to, you know, you're not having to strain out your fruit pulp. So I don't know why it's calling it a jelly instead of a jam, but we are going to make it. And it calls for a red, yellow, orange, and green bell pepper, a large one, finely chopped. And I don't have finely chopped bell peppers, but I do have green, yellow, red, and a tiny bit of orange. So that's what we're going to use. So I'm going to use about 1.5 cups of each of these 3 bags. So here's one of my frozen. 1, 2, 3, give or take, right there. And if I like this, I will make it again because I have right now an abundance of peppers in my freezer. So here's my bag of the yellow and the orange. We're going to do 3, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm not in camera. You guys aren't missing anything. All right, here's the red. One, 2. We'll call that 3. So 1.5 cups of each should be 4.5 cups. That should be roughly the equivalent of 4 large. I'm going to add one more. There we go. That should roughly be the equivalent of 4 large bell peppers finely chopped. So let me pop these back in my freezer, and I'll come back to you. Now, because my peppers are not finely chopped, I'm going to go ahead and put them in my Vitamixer with the 2 cups of apple cider that it calls for. And I'm just going to give them a quick pulse, let them chop up a little bit finer, and then we will go from there as if I had chopped them fine myself. I don't think it'll make any difference that I'm using frozen instead of fresh. In fact, I do a lot of my jam that way and it works out absolutely perfect. So I need 2 cups. So this is 1/2, so I need 4 of these. All right. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. All right, it's also going to call for 6 cups of sugar, 1/2 a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, and a little bit of salt, and 1 pouch of liquid pectin, which I do have on hand. So I think we're going to be okay. All right, let's see what we think. First of all, where is the lid to my mixer or my blender? Okay, down here is the peppers, and I added the apple cider vinegar. You saw me do that. I added a pinch of salt. You didn't see me do that. And here is about 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes right there. And now I'm going to add 6 cups of sugar, which I've already measured out. That is going to go right there. And this is going to come to a boil and boil for 10 minutes, I think. Let me read it. Bring it on within 10 minutes till sugar is fully dissolved. Okay, then we add the pectin. Okay. I wonder if I'm going to be sad that that is that chunky. Now is the time to decide if I want to run that through the blender just another 1/2 second. Wow, I just don't know. All right, we're doing this together. Sink or swim, people. It's either going to be fantastic or it's going to be, you know, the Titanic. We will see. Okay, I did that off camera, and I think it's a little bit of a smaller dice. I just don't want it to turn into that brown, sludgy mess. So we're going to call this good. This is how it's going to be. We'll know next time whether that was too much or too little. All right, we're going to bring that to a boil, and while we're doing that, I am going to wash and sterilize my jars. How much does it say this makes? Let me read it again. Sweet and spicy, 8 to 10 1/2 pint. 8 would be 4, 8, 12. Okay, so I pulled out a different size jar based on a different jam that I was going to make, and that's not going to work here. So let me see what we've got going. Okay, yeah. I have decided to do a tiny little rebel addition to this jam. Now, I think that I would not do this had I had fresh bell peppers and not felt the need to process them in my blender to get them cut up a little bit smaller. it kind of made the jelly part of this jam kind of a yellowy brown color. And that is very unappetizing to me, even at this early stage. I know that this is not going to be pretty to serve, and I don't like it. So I dug into my thing, and I found some red food coloring. And I'm going to add a couple drops of that to the jam. So let me show you what I mean. This is the color that it's likely to be left untreated. And this is the color that it's likely to be with a couple drops of red food coloring. Now, you know, I know some of you might have a little coronary over my using, God forbid, red food coloring, but bottom line is it's my kitchen, my family, my health, my safety, my rules. You can, however, feel free to write in the notes whether you would or would not have done this, and you can say why. We don't have to agree. We just have to be, you know, polite and respectful, right? And that's how you stay off of an episode of If You Can't Say Anything Nice. Gosh darn it, don't say anything nice at all. I edited that for you. You like that? Okay, so that is what I'm going to do. Now, I also tasted it, and I'll taste it here for you guys. And it doesn't have enough heat for me or my husband. So I'm going to add probably, because we can always add more, but I can't undo it once I've done it. So I'm going to go ahead and add another little pinch of chili flakes. And let me bring you down here. You can see that it's just kind of doing its thing. But I just want a spicier pepper for that thing. Now I am going to wipe off my spoon right there. And let's see if that changed the heat at all. Okay, I'm going to add one more tiny little pinch. Whew, looks like I added a big pinch. Now, many years ago, I went to a Christmas party, and a woman had made a version of a butter thumbprint, and she had this hot jelly jam in the center of it, and it was absolutely delicious. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about. And also to use this for marinades or rubs or whatever. But I want some heat. Okay? All right. Here we go. Let's see if I've overheated it. I'm going to add some more. See what we think. I'm thinking I can also use this when I make my own sweet and sour, right? I think that'll be so good. Okay. You are watching me stir, but here's the pot. Wiping off my spoon. Let's go ahead and take a little test. Let's see what we think. Not really getting the heat that I want. Just going to add a little bit more. We can always add more I can't add less once it's in there. Okay, you're watching me just watch my pot. Wiping off my spoon. Let's see what we've got now. I think I could go a little bit more, but I think I'm going to leave it here. Yep. Okay, this is at a boil now. My sugar is dissolved. So I am going to open my packet of pouch jelly. Can't find my scissors. There we go. Right there. I've never used this before. And I did read online where you cannot substitute one of these for the other. Now the instructions say add the liquid pectin, then mix well, bring it again to a boil within 4 to 5 minutes until it reaches a thicker consistency. All right, let me look at the time. 11:19. Okay. All right, I'll bring you back. Okay, I am a little bit short of counter space, so I'm just going to show you the first jar before it goes into the canner, and then I'm going to do the rest myself because I just don't have room. I'm just have no room on this counter. All right, I'll be back. And here are my jars of sweet and spicy pepper jam. 2 pint jars and 5 little 1/4 pint jars. I still need to wipe them off and label them, but I think they look nice. So all done with that today. Woohoo!